Once again, I'd like to welcome you to the Statesman podcast. This is where you get the best conversations centered around governance, politics, trending news, and so much more. Most especially right now as we're heading towards 2023. It's the eve of an election, and we can't just leave the matters lying down low without talking about them because we are in a very critical state in our nationhood, and so we need to interrogate the very important issues. Welcome once again. My name is Swat. I'm your host here. Today I have a very interesting guest. I'll be talking about something equally interesting. Now, before I introduce what the subject of our conversation is going to be today, let me ask you to kindly like and subscribe to our channel, most especially on YouTube, so that whenever we have a new episode, you will be the first to know. All right, so to the major issue this day, the PDP and the crisis raging within. What is actually the way forward? PDP seem to be the opposition that is strongly contending to take over from the APC. After the last 7 years, Nigerians seem to be really tired of the bad governance, from economy to insecurity and a host of issues that has made Nigerians to say, well, we are really tired and we need something. Well, we all know the frenzy about the Peter Obi, Labour Party and all of that. But then you cannot also take away the fact that the PDP is also in great contention to most probably come back to office. That is, if Nigerians choose to elect them. But then there seems to be a snag, and that is the raging crisis. And so joining me today to talk about this very important issue is Mr. Henry Shield. Mr. Henry Shield is a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for making our time to join me.
Thank you for
Good to see you, and you look good, by the way.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, the PDP and the crisis within. We know how it all started. The chances of Wike seem to have just gone down after Tambuwal, made way for Atiku Abubakar. And from then on, it's been one thing or the other. And that seems to be impeding on the chances of the PDP to probably come back to power. Do you agree, or do you think it's nothing to really worry about?
Sincerely, I will tell you that the PDP has a serious issue on its hand. Mm-hmm. It would be foolhardy for anyone to think because the APC has messed up, automatically the PDP has the chances to come to power. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Okay. Now there is a third force, not just a third force, a viable one, mm-hmm. A third force that is a challenge to the two opposition, to the two main political parties, which is a welcome development because Nigerians should have more options beyond two parties playing God in our lives. Mm-hmm. Okay. PDP so far, for me, PDP in the last 7.5 years has been the most unserious opposition party in the history of this country. PDP has betrayed Nigerians as an opposition party. What we've seen in the last 7.5 years, you will bear me witness, we've never witnessed such in the annals of this country.
Exactly.
Nigerians have been through hell. Nigerians have suffered mental torture. Nigerians have suffered economic hardship. Nigerians have witnessed highest level of insecurity. Nigerians have seen their naira depreciate in a very scary way. Okay,
unprecedented.
2 days ago, I had some transactions that had to do with dollars, and dollars was going for 693 naira.
That's sad.
And it's a sad situation. And in all of this, mm-hmm. where has the opposition been? You ask yourself, when APC was in opposition, did they give the PDP a breathing space?
Not at all.
Today, you will hear Lai Mohammed has issued press release in Ilorin. Tomorrow is in Lagos. Mm-hmm. The next day is in Abuja. Mm-hmm. Every event that took place under Jonathan, whether positive or negative, they were on his toes. They organized Ojota riots, Ojota Occupy Nigeria, Ojota riot. They organized Enough is Enough. They kept the government on its toes. Mm-hmm. They made, in fact, for Jonathan's government to take any decision, they will weigh the reaction of the opposition.
Yes.
Nobody is weighing anybody's reaction under this government. The government can wake up tomorrow and tell you fuel is going for 260 naira. Nobody is going to
Nobody
challenge
says
them.
anything.
So you look at an opposition party that failed in 7.5 years to galvanize the anger in the land, because believe me sincerely, there's serious anger in Nigeria. To galvanize the people's frustrations, to be able to offer an alternative, to say APC has failed in security, this is what we're going to do. All they have done in the last 7.5 years is to issue press releases that someone, my grandmother in the village, does not read. I don't know where you're from, but I'm not sure the press release gets to your village.
Definitely.
You want to take power from this man in Aso Rock today, and all you do is issue press releases. The Chief Justice of Nigeria was unceremoniously removed to pave way for the man that we had who just resigned, Tanko. And it just looked as if Buhari just used blanket juju and covered Wadata House. Okay?
Yeah.
And when I say these things, because some have said, okay, why have you fought this man in the last 7.5 years? I have fought him because I understand what a working system looks like. Go to Ghana. I'm not saying go to the US or the UK or Canada. Go to Ghana.
Definitely.
You will see what a working system means. You will see people go to an election, vote, and their votes will count. You will not see thugs carrying ballot boxes. The Ghanaian government, in fact, the way it is, it looks like we wasted the last 7.5 years of our lives. You will not mention one sector that this APC government has improved upon. Not one.
Some people always.
And I challenge anyone.
Infrastructure.
Listen, on Saturday, which infrastructure?
Well,
do you know how much we are owing as a nation? Which infrastructure?
It's in trillions.
When the Minister of Works, Fashola, I think last year or 2 years ago, made a statement that they have fixed most Nigerian roads, I wrote Fashola a letter that was published in several media on several media outlets. I wrote Fashola a letter. Mr. Minister, my organization is ready to pay for the expenses. Come, let us tour Nigerian roads. That was the job of an opposition, not my job. I'm a private businessman. It's not my job. But I understood that if we allowed that falsehood to stand, things that what you're saying now, which infrastructure?
Well, a lot of people give example of the second Niger
Bridge is not a Nigerian government Aso Rock project.
But then
it is a PDP. You know why? Because there is no opposition, because PDP is sleeping.
All right, so having slept all this while, let's just
they're waking up now because Peter Obi just came.
Okay, so does that cancel them out?
No, it doesn't. The truth of the matter is, we are as of today. I'm a realist.
Yes,
I do not believe in emotional politics. So all the things we're doing now, when it gets to the nitty-gritty, those who will decide who becomes the president, the things that will decide who becomes the president, I'm talking of INEC, security agencies, and the rest, they shuttle between the PDP, the APC, and they are considering Labour Party now because of the threat that the movement around the country is posing to them.
Yes.
And then we're looking at international community is getting interested in the Peter Obi movement.
Oh, yes.
So if you think you are going to rig, we have told the national chairman, the chairman of the INEC, your family will get a visa ban. You will get visa. We will make sure that no country gives you visa to leave this country. You will live with the mess that you cause. We want to have an election that works.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to PDP.
Okay.
When they lost the election in 2015, right? And they were juggling between how do we survive, blah, blah, blah. Well, Sametu was their national public secretary. He said a lot of things. And I was even challenging Sametu as at then that you were not doing enough. Like, but the first 6 months that Buhari became president, there was no minister. That was a red flag for any sensible person. No minister. I'm not in Afghanistan. I'm not in Saudi Arabia where you have a king. A president should have his federal. Do you understand? His cabinet should be ready. The fact that you could spend 6 months and expose the economy to so much bashing. That's why we went into a recession. It wasn't about Jonathan or PDP or anything. 6 months, only Buhari ran the economy. Sole administrator in a democracy. How? Buhari was Minister of Finance. Buhari was this one. Ministries were not working because everything pegged at the permanent secretary.
Some people said that showed how unprepared they were.
It wasn't just about unprepared. It seemed like there was a deliberate plan to just come and mess the country up and go. Because for me, if you ask me what Buhari has done in the last 7.5 years, the only thing I will tell you is that Buhari has just come to express shock. After expressing shock, he will go to Daura and then he will start bearing ex-president and he will be receiving pensions and what have you, because people were murdered in Zamfara. People were murdered in Kaduna. This president flew over those dead bodies abroad to go and commiserate with the country. I don't know about other people, but if I was the national youth leader of PDP, we would shut down Aso Rock. I'm not going to invade Aso Rock, but you see that entrance of Aso Rock. What I need to do, and you know why it's funny? Everybody is suffering.
Everybody is suffering.
No matter how much you have. If you have 10 million naira in your account today, like this is like by December, that 10 million naira is reduced to 8 million.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we could go on and on with a whole lot that's going down in the country. But then looking at the internal crisis that the APC is having to go through right now, the fire that is raging on, the Wike factor.
Of the PDP, you mean?
Yes, the PDP, sorry. So, I mean, what do you make out of it? Some people say this is being childish. The Wike is being childish about the whole thing. He feels very entitled. He's asking for one term for the
presidential candidate,
and he's asking the PDP chairman to resign. All these things, just a few months before the 2023 election. How feasible?
I don't know if you watched my video of Wike that had over 31 million views globally. That was during their primaries, because it was just a thin line. The PDP would have given Wike that ticket. Right?
Yeah.
But we made sure that they understood that with a Wike holding their presidential ticket, many of us, we make sure that PDP never comes back to power.
Why is
Wike is an interesting fellow. Right? And please don't misunderstand me. I still had a chat. He's a friend. I don't have an issue with Wike.
Okay.
The issue is when PDP lost power, all the leaders of the party stepped off because they were scared of EFCC. Immediately, EFCC picked to the Sametu. They sent a message to the opposition that if you mess up, we will pick you up. So rather than be a sensible opposition, and this is what an opposition should do. I'm talking to any other opposition that wants to come in after 2023, right?
Yeah.
They started opening the campaign books of the PDP. The Sametu received 400 million. And then they received this. Listen.
The Suki received this.
When you have a government that comes in with vendetta, you do not run. As a political party, you don't shy away from bullies. You confront bullies. When Sametu was arrested, all the governors of the party stepped back from funding the activities of the party. And because the party was used to getting its funding from Aso Rock when it was in power, it became very hard for it to be able to mobilize enough energy to generate funds. So who stepped in? Yes, Wike. Because that is what made Wike become like a godfather in the PDP. Wike stepped in places where the party did not have governors, sitting governors. Wike became the funder, he became the sponsor, he became the helper of the party, had those structures to himself. Okay? During Ramadan, he would send trucks of rice and everything. Yeah. He kept supporting the party in those structures. And that is a beautiful thing to do. Then it was time to get a chairman, a national chairman. And Wike, in fact, I was there at the Ondo State Governor's Lodge in Asokoro, the day that Alumodi Sheriff was appointed as PDP national chairman. And Wike Fayoshe insisted that he must be sheriff. Why? Because sheriff made them a promise that, none of you will have to bring your money to the PDP. What I'm saying now, I don't think I've said it on air before. He said, none of you will have to bring your money. I have enough money. He even claimed that he had so many private jets. I'm saying his words exactly. That immediately he's appointed today, in the next 1 week, he will be on CNN attacking Buhari. Like, I'm not I hope I'm on air. So let it be on record. Sheriff promised them that night. Serake Dixon was there. This guy from Adamawa was there. I can mention all the, because I left there around 2 a.m. I had to take a member of the NWC to his house. They bought into the fallacy, and Wike imposed Ademodu Sheriff as chairman of the PDP. That was the beginning of the fall of the PDP. A sensible opposition. You just lost power because people believe you were a corrupt party, according to Lai Mohammed. What you should have done, that opportunity should have given you the sense, the lacuna to rebrand without changing your name. Imagine if the PDP within that time had come with an unknown face.
And put him there as a party chairman.
Not somebody that has never had government office. A young person who can connect between the old and the youth.
Yeah.
People that were sitting on the fence would have moved because people had already started suffering under Buhari. Yeah. But what did they go for? They went for a man. They used their own man to call Boko Haram sponsor. That was the beginning of the fall. What Wike is doing so far is Wike telling you that all the money I've spent on the PDP since 2015 must not go to waste. Unfortunately for him, PDP has repaid Wike back.
How has the PDP?
PDP gave you opportunity. You nominated 2 national chairmen of PDP. He brought Ademodu Sheriff. He brought Secondus. You are not the only one that owns PDP. Man.
But then he also was responsible for Secondus going.
Because Secondus was not going to play ball with him. Wow. Because Secondus insisted on Atiku being the chairman during the 2019 election. Wike never forgive Secondus till today. Secondus is not my friend. In fact, Secondus was the reason why I left the PDP. All right? Okay. But Wike's overbearing attitude caused a lot of governors, senators, party leaders to leave the party. Wike became the one that will tell you what will happen in Wadata House. It is not done that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? And all the chairmen were falling into it, and then because Secondus had he had a promise with Wike that he was going to be made governor and everything. See, PDP has paid Wike enough. Wow. Does he? Okay, now the same thing he has done in the past. He is insisting now. He must bring the new national chairman. Okay. If everybody that has gone, you were not even among those that formed PDP.
He was not among the funding party.
But PDP has failed as a party to understand that in building yourself as an institution, there is a generic way to get funding, membership, fundraisers, and what activities and what have you, sponsorship from abroad. For you to be relying on governors, relying on Wike to bring money, you will keep being under their armpit.
But isn't that a reflection of the Nigerian society in the sense that we depend more? You know, the other day we were talking about powerful people in Nigeria, powerful politicians, instead of institutions. I mean, couldn't the PDP wrap its head around the fact that funding, like you rightly said, doesn't necessarily have to come from one individual?
Funny enough, you know, for a party that has been in government, that was in government for 16 years.
Yes.
My dear sister, whatever you have done for 16 years will almost always become a part of you. It will be very hard to change from. For a party that immediately was sworn in 1999, it was getting funding from the military before it became a party. It was getting money for Aso Rock, and so for it to be able to, and then in electing its officials, it didn't think strategically. People who could look beyond waiting for handouts from governors. I have spoken to a lot of their governors, almost a whole lot of their governors. Okay. See, they're even tired of funding Wadata House. When the new National Public Secretary of the party, Debo, I remember his surname, and when we were not getting the kind of fire that we expected, I broke my own promise and went to Wadata House. This is like 3-4 months ago. Okay, what is the problem? APC is getting away with so much. And this is what I've done with all political parties I've met with Shogore. I don't have any bias. What we want is that we should have a system that holds this book accountable. PDP can generate millions every day. You don't need to wait to sell tickets, to sell funds.
Yeah.
See, you have members across board. Digitalize your membership system. Have people who can register in my village in Ehiala. Let them every month 200 naira membership payment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Imagine having 30 million members, 200 naira every month. Do you know how much that would come up to?
All right. Well, you're listening to us speaking about the PDP crisis, and I'm really glad, Mr. Henry Shield has taken us historically through some of the issues that has given rise to what the PDP is currently facing in terms of maybe lack of funding that has made Wike to become like a very strong man in the PDP. Please stay on. This is the Statesman podcast. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back for the concluding part of this podcast. Welcome back. We're still on the PDP crisis and the chances it stands come 2023. This is the election eve, 2022, barely 7 months plus or 8 months at most to the 2023 general election. What are the chances the PDP stands in the polls in February of 2023 in view of the raging crisis ongoing within the opposition? Have they really been an opposition? My guest doesn't think that they've lived up to that responsibility. And he has also, thrown insight as to what has led to where the PDP is right now with Wike and some of the key players towards 2023 having that little impasse. Thank you once again, Mr. Henry Shield, for being here. Now, moving forward, you've helped us to understand a whole lot of things, and I'm really glad that you've taken us historically so that for the benefit of people who may not necessarily understand, but now we have a clear picture. But moving forward, they've messed up big time, a whole lot. But then what are the chances of PDP getting its house together and moving as a strong force towards regaining power, if there are any chances whatsoever?
Well, I hope that they understand. They can read the room. I wouldn't want to say certain things, but I think the presidential candidate needs to reach out, especially to their governors and other aggrieved leaders of the party. Yesterday, he was in Kano to receive my good friend, my elder brother, and my very, very good friend, Malam Ibrahim Shekarau.
Okay.
How many governors were there? How many sitting governors of the party were there?
It seems the PDP doesn't have one house or something.
You had Tambua was there.
Mm-hmm.
You had his vice presidential candidate, Ifeanyi Okowa.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there was any other one. Wow. Do you know what that means? Like I said, I don't want to say a lot of things, but the presidential candidate needs to sit down, remove the toga that, okay, I am the next president, and engage with people that are aggrieved. They are legitimately aggrieved. I don't like Wike as a person.
Mm-hmm.
He's too brash, he's too aggressive, he's too reckless with words. I don't like a leader like that, right?
Yeah.
And he did some things in the past that I called him on the phone and I told him, Mr. But we ended up having a shouting bout. Fine. I'm not coming to do for contract in your office. So there's nothing you can use. What is my own? I will tell you. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you cannot remove the influence that Wike has in the South. Even in the Southeast.
We know the likes of the Benue State Governor, Abia State Governor, and Oyo State
Governor,
Sheikh Makinde.
Those are the ones that have given up and said, okay, we'll follow Wike. Many others are following Wike without identifying with him.
Oh, wow.
I can tell you that.
Wow. That's interesting.
Like I was saying, there are things that I know that I shouldn't say because these are confidential discussions that I've had with governors, and it will not be good for me to come on here and say it. But I can tell you there is a need for the presidential candidate to please. The fact that you see yourself already in Aso Rock is not enough. The more, the merrier. You need Wike. You need Otom in the middle.
Central, not central.
Otom has placed himself in a position where he seems he's now seen as the spokesperson, as the figurehead for the victimized people of the Middle Belt.
Yes.
So if you're fighting the northern minority, mm-hmm. and you need them.
Definitely.
Okay? Sheyi Makinde is the epitome of good governance. I tell anybody, I don't care. I don't care what you want to say. I don't care what party he belongs. If Sheyi Makinde moves to APC today, I will support him. If he moves to ABGA, I will support him. Because he has simplified governance. Sheyi has brought about what responsible governance means. There is no governor in Nigeria today. If Sheyi stands and the person stands, even if the person is my father, I will queue behind Sheyi Makinde.
All right, sir, but there was news last week that Atiku was billed to meet with Wike.
No, they met in the UK.
In the UK,
which is a problem for me.
Because of the UK thing, or
why would you schedule your meeting for
every other person
a foreign land?
Even
listen,
Obi
was
in the UK.
I am not blaming only the PDP. I had an interview with a TV station, in fact, with AIT, where I told them that it shows a sign of slavery when your leaders move themselves like a herd of sheep to a foreign land. When you come into a foreign land, you pass through immigration. Immigration notifies the central government that, listen, these figures from so and so places are around.
Yes.
The waiter who is serving you in your hotel could be a CIA agent.
Who knows?
The whatever, the driver who is driving you could be someone. You are not safe in a foreign land. The concierge who comes in the morning to lay your bed could plant cameras.
Definitely.
Why would you carry yourselves? I saw Peter Obi, I saw Obasanjo, I saw Tinubu, I saw Wike, I saw Sheyi Makinde. Come on. We are smarter than this. Maybe because I come from a security angle, but we are smarter than. There is nothing they have discussed there that will not have been recorded by those governments.
Is there any hope in the midst of all of this?
I see. I will beg that the Alhaji Atiku please reach out to agreed people within the PDP. Reach to them. I know he's angry that many of them contested against him for the party's ticket. And I'm saying this directly. You are angry that they contested, but it is their legitimate right to contest.
Yes.
They do not hold you an explanation. They do not hold you anything. You as a Democrat should understand that they can contest. In fact, your son can contest against you. I can contest against you. And it doesn't make me your enemy. It only makes me, a beneficiary of the democratic system that we practice. Okay? It doesn't mean anything. Please reach out to all of them. You need as many people in your camp as possible. The person in Nassau Rock is not Jonathan. I tell all the opposition parties, the person in Nassau Rock is not somebody that will say the blood of Kineko is not what the Kineko. These ones don't care. They did it in several places. Edo, they did it everywhere. They did it in Imo. Number 4 became number 1. That's the level of, I don't know, I don't want to use certain words, but the people you're dealing with are not gentlemen. For you to displace them in 2023, there is a need to go with a united house.
Definitely.
There is a need to go. PDP needs to prove itself strong. Come out. Some of us have been fighting Buhari for 7.5 years. We are not scared. Every time they say somebody is coming to the front, if you want to come and arrest me, come and arrest me. Do you know, we have gotten to a level where if I will give you my freedom to talk, if I will say I can no longer talk, it makes me nothing less than a slave.
Exactly.
So I will talk. The highest you can do is to incarcerate me. And by the time you leave office, somebody else will come in and democracy will return. We have lost democracy in the last 7.5 years because there's been no opposition to this government. Today, electricity tariff is how much? 40-something naira. Under PDP it was 7 naira. Today, fuel is 175 naira. Under PDP, it was 87 naira. Today, a bag of rice is 28 to 32,000 naira. Under PDP, it was 8,500 naira. Today, gas is how much? See, people's lives have gone down. If you used to sell 100,000 to your parents in the past, today,
you can't even afford that.
You should pray to even have the 100,000 in your pocket first.
Exactly.
Before you can now say, let me send 20,000 out of it. It affects their lives. It affects your life. Why? Because we made a terrible decision in 2015. Okay? So, 2023, we are begging the opposition, PDP, please. Labour, whatever party it is, let us make sure that there is repercussion for how bad APC has done in the last 7.5 years. If we don't do this, it means that any president can come in and misbehave and will be rewarded with elongation of the tenure of their party in Nassau Rock. Let there be a repercussion for how far APC has done to Nigerians. ASU has been on strike since February 14th.
We can go on.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're
I
saying,
cannot travel.
We all are Nigerians.
My parents want to travel. They want to go to the village. In my village, there is no police station. They've sacked the police station there. If you go to the police station in my village now, what you have are unknown government with machete. They are the ones dispensing justice in my village. I can give you the name of the village. Go and confirm. And we have a government. So we must not repay these people for the mess that they have made Nigeria in the last 7.5 years. Whatever it takes, this government needs to leave so that a new government that comes in understands that the people own the mandate they are using to call themselves leaders.
Right. We can go on and on. I mean, it's been one most interesting conversation. Like, we shouldn't stop, but we have to stop anyways because our time is up. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry Shield, for coming. I really appreciate your insight into this. And I do hope that all that he has said will be put into consideration if we have to recapture the soul of Nigeria. This is where we come to the end of this most interesting conversation again. Join me next time. My name is Swat. I'll see you.